Greg Latimer with MysteriousDestinationsMagazine.com, where this month, which is June 2013 edition of MysteriousDestinationsMagazine.com, we're reporting from the Mystery Coast of Maine. Go to the website at MysteriousDestinationsMagazine.com, or if you happen to be catching this on a later date, check out our library archive for these articles. And you'll see articles about the Mystery Coast of Maine, a whole bunch of listings of places you can visit yourself, the haunted lighthouses of Maine. We have a very interesting article, including an interview with Lauren Coleman, the cryptozoologist, regarding a possible explanation for sea serpent sightings here in Maine back in the 17 and 1800s. And of course we have an article about Lauren Coleman's International Cryptozoology Museum down in Portland, Maine. So a lot of good stuff to check out at MysteriousDestinationsMagazine.com. Where we are right now is in the small mid-coast town of Newcastle, where we're in front of the Tipsy Butler B&B. Now, the Tipsy Butler used to be home to a very interesting, kind of forceful lady named Myrtle Gascoigne. She also had an antique shop just down the way over here. And the Mysterious Destinations team has done a number of explores here, and always had some very interesting results. We've got some interesting videos to show you, and so let's head on into the Tipsy Butler and take it from there. Here we are in the beautifully appointed parlor of the Tipsy Butler B&B in Newcastle, Maine. A particularly important place. You can see that the parlor is absolutely gorgeous. This used to be the residence of Myrtle Gascoigne, who the innkeepers believe still haunts the location, and that we have some video evidence that she may well be doing that. But one of the more compelling spots at the location is the door over here on my right. This is the door to what used to be Myrtle's bedroom when she lived here. It's now called the Butler's room. It provided us with some interesting experiences when we went in there to videotape various flashlight sessions and dowsing rod sessions and things like that. And it's also a location where many of the guests that come here describe a presence of sorts. Sometimes it's more feelings, sometimes they describe an ethereal apparition, that kind of thing. However, there was one very strong and really unexplainable incident that happened here about a year and a half ago. And that was had to do with a wedding guest. The wedding party had actually rented the whole B&B. And unbeknownst to him, there was no one else in the room. The wedding party had gone out to dinner with the innkeepers, and they were at a location nearby. And he came in and took his luggage up to his room. For some reason needed some ice, and when he came downstairs, he looked up to the right here, and there was a woman standing there, and he asked, where is the ice machine? And the woman, as in his description, walks by him, walks into the next room, which is the dining area where the ice machine is located, indicates the ice machine. Now the gentleman goes over, gets his ice, and he looks up to say thank you, and the woman isn't there anymore. Neither can he find her anywhere in the building. And he didn't really suspect anything until later on when all of the wedding guests returned, and he found out that he'd indeed been the only living person in the building at the time. So pretty compelling experience, and certainly a demonstration of how powerful Myrtle can be, because a full-bodied apparition, not an easy thing to do, I don't think. How powerful Myrtle can be when it comes to taking care of the guests who come to visit her home. Now we're upstairs in a room known as the groundskeeper's room. And this room has a bit of a history as well, starting with the first innkeepers here, who had possibly a more contentious relationship with Myrtle than the current innkeepers. And in this particular story, and these were rational people, one of them a retired Navy lieutenant commander, who described discussing changing the paint color in this particular room. And while doing that, a brush, very forcefully, suddenly flew off the top of a dresser, headed straight to her head, and she had to duck so that it missed her. They decided to keep the color in the room the same following that incident. But once again, an early sort of example of Myrtle and her compulsion to sort of have it her way here at her house. The other story comes from our 2011 Midnight Explore that we did, the overnight explore we do here at Myrtle's every year. And that was with a lady who, at the end of the evening, we leave electromagnetic field detectors and other equipment with people, as well as trigger devices on the tables and that kind of thing. And this particular lady was staying in this room with her husband. They set an EMF detector here on this dresser, just left it there. There hadn't been any other responses on the EMF detector through the evening as they went to sleep, and we're actually fast asleep when about 2 o'clock in the morning the EMF detector just spiked. The audio was on, or the audible alarm was on, so it was making a loud beep beep noise, the light going off. Very, very, very strong response. Obviously awoken the lady and her husband. They were trying to figure out what to do. They tried to get some pictures, and then the EMF detector discontinued at that point. They actually moved it a little ways away to a coffee table in the middle of the room, and it again went off at 4 a.m. Not quite as strong a response, but once again, EMF detectors are one of my favorite little things because all they do is analyze EMF fields. And in this case, you can make no other argument except that there was a mobile electromagnetic field in the room that was crossing paths with that EMF detector. You can decide for yourself what was causing that electromagnetic field, but many paranormal investigators feel that electromagnetic fields are indicative of paranormal activity. Just on another note, you could also speculate that there was some curiosity there as to what was happening with the EMF detector and why it was going off and that kind of thing. So one of our incidents from the 2011 overnight explore we did here at the Tipsy Butler. We're going to go now to the video, which I'm sure everyone's been waiting for. We have a combined array of instruments that we're using for this particular video. It's the way we like to work. In this case, we are getting responses with flashlights and with dowsing rods. Some of the responses are happening almost simultaneously, or sometimes one of the objects will be manipulated and then the other object after that. We also had an electromagnetic field detector out, and we had a digital tape recorder for EVP purposes. And this would be from the 2012 Mysterious Destinations Overnight Explorer here at the Tipsy Butler. All the videos you're about to see. We had no discernible EVP responses and very few EMF responses that night, but very active with the flashlight and the dowsing rods, almost working in concert. Problem with the dowsing rods? Awful hard to get them on video so that you can see them. So you'll have to listen with people responding to, well, the dowsing rods are crossed, the dowsing rods are straightening out, things like that. You will hear that as well as see the flashlight go on and off in this video. And another thing that we do is we use control questions, questions that we know the answers to, that we purposely ask for a wrong answer, as it were. For instance, when we asked Myrtle if regarding the number of children and the number of husbands she had, those are control questions where we know the answer, and we're checking to see if whatever we're dealing with that's using the flashlight or the dowsing rods to communicate with us is going to give us the correct answer or not. This allows us a little more evidence that if we're dealing with an entity, it may be the entity that we think we're dealing with by asking personal questions like that. So you'll see that happen in this videotape. We also use a number of trigger devices here with Myrtle, and they include a portrait of her when she was quite young and very, very attractive. They also include an old Moses bottle. A Moses bottle was a bottle that was used by Poland Springs Bottling Company here in Maine. And they bottled their own branded gin in these things, and the bottle was shaped like Moses. They've become very collectible since then. And the story told is that Myrtle, who generally frowned on drinking, really did enjoy a nip of gin now and then. And so she would drink the gin from the Moses bottles and then sell them at her antique store down the street. So that's one of the devices we use. We also found out she likes little Japanese dishes. We have those around. And Myrtle was featured with a full-page photograph in her older years in National Geographic. We actually went to some trouble to track down 4 copies of those National Geographic, or that particular issue of National Geographic, so we could place one in each room. And that's one of the trigger devices that stays overnight with the guests. So check this video out. It is pretty long. I mentioned in the Story and Mysterious Destinations magazine, grab your popcorn, because we have some minutes of video for you here in the upstairs groundskeeper's room at the Tipsy Butler B&B in Newcastle, Maine. Okay, Myrtle, we've got a whole bunch of different ways that you can talk with us this time around, and it'll be entirely up to you which you want to choose. We've got the rods that you can cross or uncross for yes or no, and the flashlight where you cross the rods for yes and open them for no, and then you see the pendulum over there, and then there's the flashlight. So we'll ask questions using a variety of different choices for you here. First of all, thank you. We're happy you're here, and we're happy that it sounds like we're welcome here tonight. Can you cross the rods or turn the flashlight on to let us know if we're welcome here tonight? If yes, we're welcome here tonight. Thank you, Myrtle. I'm glad to hear that we're welcome here tonight. We're gonna be going to a bunch of different rooms tonight, and we hope you'd like to follow us. Does that sound like something that you'd want to do? You can go through the house with us tonight. We'll show you how much we appreciate the house. If that's yes, that you would like to see us go through the house with you tonight, can you either turn the flashlight on or make the rods cross? I'm going to ask another. Okay, there we go. Okay, then it looks like we'll be taking a tour of the house. And what we're going to do is try and learn a little bit more about you. Can you turn the flashlight off if you'd like to tell us more about you? Turn the flashlight off or make the rods cross.
That's a definite yes.
Yep.
And there goes the flashlight.
That would be interesting.
Thank you.
Thank you, Myrtle. One of the questions that came up tonight, because we don't know as much about you as we want to, is how many children you had. Was it 3 children? If you had 3 children, could you cross the rods for yes or turn the flashlight on? Okay, I'll ask one more time just to make sure we're clear. If you had 3 children, can you cross the rods for yes or turn the flashlight on? Please. Okay, how about 2 children? If it's 2 children that you had, can you cross the rods for yes or turn the flashlight on, please?
Are the rods touching, Serena?
No, they're not touching.
Okay, well, thank you, Myrtle. It looks like the rods are something you enjoy. So if you can straighten the rods back out, please. We'll try and ask another question. Did you, are you still going? Got away from me to ask the question, Myrtle.
She read your mind.
Yeah. Are you still active down at the where your antique shop used to be, which is now the Newcastle Public House, that restaurant down there? Do you go down there and visit them too? Please turn the flashlight off for yes, or cross the rods for yes.
Look at that.
She's a genius.
When we were down there earlier tonight, Myrtle, we noticed that there could have possibly been some other entities down there. Are there other entities down at that building where your antique store used to be that you know of? Could you turn the flashlight on or cross the rods? Looks like you're already crossing the rods. Thank you very much for that.
That was a big yes.
That was a big yes.
Well, it's an old building, so there's probably a lot going on down there.
I bet she keeps them in check.
Yes. Myrtle, I'm putting a device down over here that a lot of people have here. And basically it just tells us about electromagnetic field activity. I think you're already familiar with it. Yes, I guess so. From this very same room last year. And you know it won't hurt you or anything like that. So go ahead and turn the light off, Myrtle, so we'll try starting again. Okay, thank you. Does anyone have any questions they'd like to ask Myrtle?
I do.
Okay.
Myrtle, do you remember your niece, Melissa Sage?
Turn the light on for yes, or cross the rods, please.
She said you gave her a comb to put in her hair. She said it looks Spanish.
Wow.
She'll be happy to hear that.
That's pretty.
And this was a flashlight that did nothing yet yesterday.
Yeah. Well, it did nothing when we were there.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Well, Myrtle, your niece has been calling to find out more about you. Does that make you happy? To know that one of your relatives wants to learn more about what you were like? Can you turn the flashlight on for yes, or cross the rods for yes? And I'll try the question one more time. Does it make you happy that your niece is trying to find out more about you? Can you turn the flashlight on for yes, or cross the rods for yes, please?
Look at that.
Okay. Oh, we got the rods crossing.
Rods
Okay.
across.
Okay, well, thank you, Myrtle.
Wow.
As soon as the rods stop, then she heads over to the light, it looks like. Well, thank you, Myrtle. You're emphatically answering through two different devices. Why don't you, can you straighten the rods and let the flashlight go off, please? Don't feel like letting the flashlight go off, huh? There we go. Just let it go off. It gets us back so we can answer questions again, but we can do another thing too. Okay, that's good. Do you like the way that Sarah is taking care of your house here at the Tipsy Butler? Can you turn the flashlight on for yes, or cross the rods for yes if you like Sarah and the way she's taking care of the house here?
Sarah will be pleased to hear that, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, she was a little concerned.
Yes, Sarah.
That's a big yes.
Yeah. Okay, can you straighten the rods back out, please? We know you, Myrtle, one thing we're already learning about you is you like to do things on your own sweet time, as it were. And we see the flashlight going back on. Myrtle, I know one of the frustrating things about being in the position you're in is not being able to communicate clearly with people, even though there's a lot of stuff you might want to say. Do you find that frustrating in the existence you're living now? Could you cross the rods or turn the flashlight on for yes?
She's doing both.
She's already doing both, yeah.
Yeah, did both. Well, thank you, Myrtle. We're going to try and take some of the frustration out of that if we can. Go ahead and let the flashlight go off. Thank you. And see if you can straighten the rods back out too, please. Thank you.
Do you have anything on your
And-
meter?
Oh, I was recording it.
Oh,
Oh, any questions from you guys?
One of the things we wondered about tonight, Myrtle, is how many husbands you had. Did you have 2 husbands?
No, there. Flashlight's on.
Did you have 3 husbands?
Cross the rods if you had 3 husbands. We're not sure what's happening with the flashlight right now.
Or the rods? They're moving.
Yeah, but they're moving backwards.
Maybe she doesn't count her first husband.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, she had 3 husbands.
Or yes, she doesn't count the first one.
Or yeah, maybe she doesn't count the first one. Now, Myrtle, of the husbands you had, was the first one, was he good to you? can you turn the flashlight on for, well, the rods are already crossed, so let's take a step backwards. Straighten the rods out if you would, please, Myrtle, so we can get back to yes or no. And I know it must be tough having us ask you what to do here in your own place, but this is the easiest way for us to talk. There you go. Thank you very much, Myrtle. Now, was your first husband good to you? Could you cross the rods for yes or turn the flashlight on for yes? Okay, what about your second husband? Was he good to you? Can you cross the rods for yes or turn the flashlight on for yes?
That's a definite yes.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you, Myrtle. Can you straighten the rods back out, please? And you might also be able to let the flashlight go off about the same time. Okay, very good. Thank you. Boy, this is when it gets frustrating for us, Myrtle, because we're limited to such yes or no questions and answers. But we'll try our best. Do you think the house needs new paint? Sarah's worried about that. Could you turn the flashlight on for yes or cross the rods if you think the house needs new paint?
No, she's fine with the paint.
Yeah. Well, Sarah's worried about that. Is there something else about the house that Sarah should be worried about? Can you cross the rods for yes or turn the flashlight on? Okay. Thank you, Myrtle. Can you straighten the rods back out, please? Thank you. And is the problem with the house that you're concerned about? We're going to try and go through a checklist here. Is the problem about the house that you're concerned about the electrical part? The electricity in the house? Does that need fixing? Please cross the rods for yes or turn the flashlight on or do both.
No.
Okay. What about the plumbing? Is the plumbing something that Sarah should be concerned about? Is that what you're concerned about right now? Please cross the rods for yes or turn the flashlight on.
Flashlights on.
Okay. You think the plumbing's going to be a problem then? Okay. Pretty bright response too. Okay. Rod's still a little ambivalent though. But the flashlight isn't.
Different water.
Okay. Water?
If
Okay.
it's another issue with water.
Okay.
Maybe
It's
the
something
storm.
else with water, but not plumbing.
Okay. Myrtle, is it an issue with water but not plumbing? Can you cross the rods for yes or turn the flashlight on? Okay. Thank you, Myrtle, for crossing the rods. Okay. Folks that are homeowners, what kind of issue would we have?
Is it something to do with the roof, Myrtle?
Is it something to do with the roof, Myrtle? Should we be concerned about the roof?
The basement foundation.
Well, hold on. We got to go one question at a time.
Sorry.
But we can do that one next. So, Myrtle, back to the water problem. Is there something wrong with the roof you know about that Sarah should be paying attention to? Please cross the rods for yes or turn the flashlight on. Okay, we also had a question that came in about the same time about the basement. Is there something about the basement that Sarah should be concerned about? Please cross the rods for yes or turn the flashlight on.
That's no.
That's a no.
Yeah.
It's a definite no.
Okay, so there's something up with the roof and you think Sarah should get on it and fix it. Is that correct? Can you let us know again just so we can be sure? Please cross the rods for yes. If there's something wrong with the roof we need to pay attention to, or turn the flashlight on. Okay, well, we got that message, Myrtle, and we'll definitely be giving it to Sarah. And thank you for letting us know.
Maybe we could ask about the storm.
Sure. Can you,
Could it be the chimney?
so go ahead and let the light turn off, Myrtle. We'll start again once you turn the light off. Thank you. And the rods are straight. Okay. Could it be something to do with the chimney, Myrtle? Is the chimney a problem on the roof? Please cross the rods for yes or turn the light on for yes. Okay, we'll try it just one more time to make sure. Is there something wrong with the chimney? Okay. But, okay, we see the light. And let's just ask that one more time so we can clarify. I know this is kind of tedious for you, Myrtle, but we just want to make sure. If there's something wrong with the chimney, can you cross the rods for yes? Okay. Or turn the flashlight on. Or turn the flashlight on. Okay, we're getting the rods crossed for yes. So, straighten the rods out if you would, please, Myrtle. Okay, thank you. So, what we're going to do is we're going to tell Sarah that you feel there's a problem with the roof and the chimney. Is that what you want us to do? Please cross the rods for yes or turn the light on.
Look at that.
It's a big yes.
Okay.
She's very worried about that.
Okay. Well, Myrtle, we will definitely tell Sarah about that. And,
Thank you.
You're welcome.
yeah. And we hope you can worry about it a little bit less. I'm sure Sarah and you will probably have a conversation about it sometime soon. Go ahead and straighten the rods out and let the flashlight turn off if you would, please. Thank you. And thank you. The group we have here tonight, they're a pretty fun group, and we're trying to have a good time with all this. And we sort of hope you can join our party. Do you like this group here tonight? Can you cross the rods for yes or turn the flashlight on?
Thank you, Myrtle.
Thank you, Myrtle. Okay, well, all of these folks are going to be spending the night here, and they'll all have one of those devices like I have on the bed there. And as you recall from last year, those devices are pretty effective at waking people up and letting them know that you're there. Okay.
Remembers that.
Thanks.
Okay, well, that was fun. You met Mary last year, and she's kind of a nice lady. So now you can meet other people this year, too, as well. Go ahead and turn the light off. Let it go ahead and go out. Thank you, Myrtle. And you can uncross the rods. Go ahead and uncross the rods, Myrtle. I know it's tedious and it's a lot of work. Okay, thank you. Well, some pretty interesting stuff out of the groundskeeper's room there. We're on our way down to the Butler's room, where we also had some interesting experiences, but also I wanted to stop and show you the red light on this particular landing here on the stairway. The former innkeepers here used to try to turn this light off on occasion, and apparently Myrtle doesn't like this light turned off. She likes it kept on all the time. And so they would come back and find the light after they'd turn it off being back on again. That happened repeatedly. So they decided they'd try to take control of the situation and invested in repairs to the light and the fixture and the switch. And nevertheless, the light still continues to stay on even when you try to turn it off. The current innkeepers, they just leave it on, which would be my recommendation as well. Now we'll go on downstairs to the Butler's room, and we can give you an introduction down there as well. Now we're in the Butler's room here on the downstairs level of the Tipsy Butler B&B in Newcastle, Maine. We're about to show you some videos we captured here during our overnight explore. There are two other rooms here in the Tipsy Butler. Really, the whole building is pretty active. It's not just the Butler's room and the groundskeeper's room. It does seem that when we're here doing our midnight explores, that we seem to get the most interaction in these two rooms. However, there have been incidents and sightings in the other two rooms, including a white mist that passed through one of the rooms. And before we went into it, I just wanted to also show you, we discussed earlier the Moses bottles that are one of our trigger devices. Here's what one looks like. An old Moses bottle from Poland Springs used to be filled with gin, and probably a little bit hard to see in this lighting and format, but this is sculpted to look like Moses, and there are a number of these in different styles that are now considered pretty collectible, but we're also one of Myrtle's favorite things, and so we like to have them around. And with that, let's take a look at the video we captured in the Butler's room during our overnight explore in October of 2012. Well, Myrtle, I think we can tell
There it
you.
is again. Holy
Look at,
moly.
yes. She
Yep.
wants to communicate.
Oh yeah,
She
big
has something
time.
probably that she really wants to say.
Okay. And we're spiking on the EMF over here.
All the way. I mean, his was like all the way up. Like it was all the way.
Went boink.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, go ahead and let the flashlight turn off, Myrtle, and straighten the rods back out. We'll try and cover some subjects about what it is that you need to talk with us so much about. We already found out about the house and the roof. Is there something going on with you that we need to try and find out about? Can you turn the flashlight on for yes, or cross the rods over for yes? Okay, and just one more time so we're clear. Is there something going on with you that we need to ask about? Could you can you cross the rods over for yes so we know for sure, and the light's getting brighter? Okay, go ahead and turn the flashlight off. Let the flashlight go off if you wouldn't mind. And we see you've got the rods crossed over there. Go ahead, that's the way. Let the flashlight flicker all the way off. Thank you, Myrtle. Is there a problem with you staying here and watching over your house, Myrtle? Can you turn the flashlight on for yes, or cross the rods over? Is there some kind of a problem with you staying here and watching over your house? Can you turn the flashlight on for yes, or cross the rods over for yes?
No trouble.
Yeah. Well, there's a little bit. The pendulum's doing nothing.
Light's bright.
Okay, go ahead and let the light turn off again, please, Myrtle. Okay, I'm going to make it a little bit easier for you. Everyone hang on for just a second here. Feel free to ask some questions. I'm going to go get the tape recorder. This is nice and quiet. And we're going to, well, there you go.
Yeah, yours.
Myrtle, could you shut the flashlight off for us now? So we can start to ask some other questions. Thank
I put that on record.
you very much. I have one question. Is this your favorite room in the house? If it is, answer it by putting on the flashlight. Thank you. So this is one of your favorite rooms in the house. That's good. We like this room also. You can turn the flashlight off now. So you really like it, so you want to have the flashlight on. So we would like you to turn the flashlight off, if you would, please. Would that be okay, Myrtle? Oh,
I think she's getting tired.
right. Thank you very much. I'm glad you answered my question.
Is
Next
that,
to getting tired.
She's getting tired.
is that what you want us to know, Myrtle, that you're getting tired?
Yeah.
Well, we hope you enjoyed the video and found it fairly compelling from the groundskeeper's room and the butler's room here at the Tipsy Butler B&B in Newcastle, Maine. You may have heard when we were conducting the video explorations there that we referred to Sarah. Sarah is the innkeeper here at the Tipsy Butler B&B. She has her relationship with Myrtle and we have ours. I have a feeling that Sarah's relationship is more of a day-to-day sort of thing. Well, we just visit Myrtle once a year on the Saturday preceding Halloween. That being said, we still have some spaces open for this year's Midnight Explore. You can find out more about that and about the Tipsy Butler and the other items we cover at mysteriousdestinationsmagazine.com. There should be a link below right in the narrative text for this YouTube video. And we thank you very much for joining us and leave you to decide for yourself from the videos you saw at mysteriousdestinationsmagazine.com.